the system is rigged. So if you got $1 million, great. If you got 5 million,
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. Anyway, thank you very much, E2247, for keeping us in line. And let me explain why. Because I think I was guilty of this as well. We are so concerned with the attempted assassination of Donald Trump by a right-wing Republican AR-15 carrying young man. We are so concerned about that we forget about the human torture, the human massacre that's occurring right now in Israel, not in Israel, in Gaza, under the auspices of El Señor Benjamin Netanyahu, the war criminal, the genocidal maniac. So thank you for keeping us abreast that another 40-something people died yesterday on the 16th, and I believe near 100 died the day before. Thank you for putting that in the forefront. We shouldn't forget it. But before we get there, let's go ahead and welcome everybody. E2247, welcome aboard. Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Tuscasita, welcome aboard. We also have in the house Lee Grant from Montgomery County, Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. We also have in the house with us, of course, Michael Rudnin from Brooklyn, New York, May Wood from Long Beach, California, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Atlanta, all right, Powder Springs, Georgia. I think you used to be in Atlanta before, right? Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. Keep logging in, folks, so that I can give you a shout out. You know, I like to make sure to give all of my peeps shout out. You are numero uno in my book, guys. You are number one in my book. All right, so let me go ahead and create a second backup chat page in case I lose one, because you know I have a tendency to do that sometimes. Let me also make sure that all our channels are in fact streaming. So I'll go to our streamer to make sure that we are connected to all the streaming channels. And it seems to me like let's see, look like we are connect. We are in fact streaming on Facebook, Instagram, rather Facebook, X, LinkedIn. We are on Twitch and likewise YouTube. All right, yeah, we're streaming just fine. Let me kill that guy. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Welcome aboard, everybody. Glad to see everybody here. I'm going to start today with E2247 because we can't forget. E2247 says, and let me get up there. Israel attacks across Gaza, at least 48 people killed since 16 July. That's Tuesday. That's yesterday. A strike on UNRWA school sheltering persons killed 16 souls on Sunday. 17 persons died in a strike on a school in central Gaza. In the last 11 days, 6 unaffiliated South Gaza schools were bombed. Israel struck an area of west of Khan Yunis, killing about 13 and injuring another 26 other Gazan. As hospitals, they are all taken to the morgue a few minutes after pronounced dead. On arrival is shortly after the from bombs packed with shrapnel, nails, and bits of metals that cause severe bleeding. Biden keeps saying he's determined to get a ceasefire deal, but on the ground, reality shows that's a long way off. UN says all Palestinians are being pushed into over deeper circles of hell. I want you to know I want everybody here to imagine. Imagine those of you that are here in Houston, in Harris County, parts of Montgomery County, remember what it felt like. We just had a stage one hurricane, not stage one, a category one hurricane. Here, let me get this out of the way. A category one hurricane. That is my Netroots bag for those who want to see. We just had a category one hurricane in Houston. Knocked down a lot of trees. Trees are all over. Make believe those are bricks from the bombed out buildings. We have no electricity, but we have gas and water, but no electricity. A lot of people don't have generators. And it's hot as hell. People are out here in Harris County are miserable, but they have clean water. They can get around the streets by going around the down trees, etc. It looks like a war zone, but not like Gaza. And what is happening in Gaza is 10, 100, 1,000 times worse, as we have dead people under those buildings, as we have dead people, the smell of dead people that we can't see all around Gaza. And the bombs keep coming. It's like having the hurricane every day, day in and day out, day in and day out. You don't have to be there to be able to empathize what they're going through. You don't have to be there. If we were to take 100th of what we ask people to wait till we can negotiate something better for you, we would not be able to tolerate that kind of carnage, the constancy of the destruction, the constancy of the killing. Empathy, people, empathy. So we sit down here antiseptically in our homes, even if it's hot after a hurricane, and we don't sit back and think, man, those people in Gaza, not from something that is by nature that we have no control over, but by bombs that we are the ones who are in control of. And we continue to have the manifest suffering of other human beings. I want you guys to think about it. I want you guys to think about that. That we are complicit in what Netanyahu and the IDF is doing in Gaza, the genocide that is occurring in Gaza, that we are complicit. If there is karma, if there's something like karma, what do you think we have in store for ourselves here? And again, like I said, our hands are not clean. Say, oh, it's Netanyahu doing that. Yeah, we may be giving him 2,000. We may have held back the 2,000-pound bombs. But don't you think Netanyahu can take a few of the bombs that we send, take the explosives out and convert them into 2,000-pound bombs with the technology they have in Israel? They're an arms manufacturer as well. Yeah. Think about that, folks. When the evil comes upon us, God help us. Because these are things we have done ourselves. People have say, well, it's Netanyahu doing that, it's Israel doing that, even if they're using some of our military equipment. Well, no, we did this in Panama as well. And it wasn't Netanyahu doing it in Panama. We did this in Panama. We did this in Iraq. We indiscriminately bombed and killed thousands and thousands of innocents as well. So we don't have the moral authority to complain. All we can do is atone. And our atonement can mean stop the arms going forward. We can't fix what we did in the past other than reparations and restitution. But we can say no más, no more. No more killing. Stop the killing. Thank you for bringing that awareness, E2247, to allow me to go off on my rant. All right, let's say Michael Ruddin says, Egberto, I keep seeing commentary about who's responsible for triggering the Trump shooting. So here's a reminder from 2020 about Trump and stochastic terrorism. ABC News from 2020. President Donald Trump insists he deserves no blame for division in America. No blame? ABC News finds 54 cases invoking Trump in connection with violence, threats, alleged assaults, and other criminal cases. Reviewing police reports and court records, ABC News found that in at least 12 cases, perpetrators hailed Trump in the midst or immediate aftermath of physically assaulting innocent victims. In another 18 cases, perpetrators cheered or defended Trump while taunting or threatening others. And in another 10 cases, Trump and his rhetoric were cited in court to explain a defendant's violent or threatening behavior. ABC News could not find a single criminal case filed in federal or state court where an act of violence or threat was made in the name of President Barack Obama or President George W. Bush. That should really say it all. All right, let's see what else we got here. Eric Hayes says nearly 2/3 of Democrats want Biden to withdraw. New AP NORC poll finds, whoa, this is rejection. Yes, it is. Can't argue with that, can we? British MCP say, hey all, JS appeals, Justice JS, Jack Smith, appeals to the 11th Circuit, and he will win that appeal. So that was just a temporary loss a temporary loss because it'll be reinstated and Trump will be charged again. We also have every member of Congress should reject his speech through a pub. I got that already. Ola Peeps from Bridge MCP. Paul Fleming says, I wonder what Tim Scott's fake finance is gonna fake fiance. You put finance, but I think you mean fiance is gonna do now. Hey, that's true. Whatever happened to his fiance? Why are you so bad, Paul Fleming? Why did you have to go there? Lee Grant says Shooter is alleged to support an R called Progressive Turnout Project, or any of you progressive familiar with it. Yes, it's not a real thing. The Progressive Turnout Project is a group that just put the word progressive on it and collects a lot of money from progressive by using a progressive mailing list to take money and then donate nothing or donate a very small amount of it. Look it up. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. We have Paul Fleming says new special counsel Jack Smith files his notice of appeal. That's what I just read from Breach MCP. Paul Fleming also says CNN kept Van Jones and got rid of Don Lemon. That tells me everything I need to know about that company. Yep, yep, yep. Michael says Egberto, one for the screen. Let's see what he wants for the screen. All right, let's get that to the screen for Brother Radnin. And here it is on the screen. It says about 2/3 of Democrats want Biden to withdraw. Democrats overall, 35 to 65. White Democrats, 32 to 67. Black Democrats, 50% of them wanted to stay. That's probably the older black Democrats. 49% want him to go. We also have Hispanics. 33 wants him to stay. 64 wants him to go. So when you add all of that up, it doesn't speak well for where things are with that in that respect. Thank you for that, Mr. Rudnan. All right, continuing, we've got Paul Fleming says the Biden-Harris administration capped credit card legal fees to $10 billion a year, saving Americans $10 billion a year. A Trump-appointed judge blocked it. The Biden-Harris administration banned non-compete clauses, which trap workers in job. A Trump-appointed judge blocked it. Who's really on the side of working people? Paul, that is a very important group of things that you have there, and I need to copy that and make a meme out of that. I need to make a meme out of that one. I'm going to put that. I'm going to put. In fact, I'm going to. I love that narrative right there. That was a very good one. Let's see. Meme ideas. Let me put that here. Meme ideas. That's a very good one, Fleming. Let's go ahead. Stream chat. That chat stream's gonna be gone, so might as well get rid of that. All right. Thank you for that, Paul Fleming. That's a very good one. All right, continue. We have Bridge MCP said no leave, but he did donate to another blue group like $15. Actually, I think that's a group that we're talking about, Bridge. Okay, let's continue. Again, it's funny. They constantly try to make these bad things onto progressives. The fact is, even if whatever the case is, he followed what he learned in the right wing space. AR-15 and killing. AR-15 and killing. That is the modus operandi of rogue right wing folks that follow the militia modus operandi. We don't have to question that. So stop trying to find false analogies, my dear brother. All right, let's continue here. We have Paul Fleming says, why are billionaires like Peter Thiel, Rupert Murdoch, Stephen Schwarzman, and the owner of this website rallying behind Trump? Yes, the tax cuts, but there's more. The more Trump tears down democracy, the safer the oligarchy becomes. Of course, absolutely so. All right, welcome aboard, MD Manny Russman. He says, right. 65% of Democrats want Biden to step down. I read that one already. And in fact, Radnin gave us the chart. So thank you for that, Mr. MD Manny Rossman. What else have we got before I go to my first video? Bridge MCP says, JD took Tim Scott's black job. I know that's what Biden said yesterday. Biden said a black job is vice president of the United States. A black job is president of the United States. That was kind of cute, right? I thought it was kind of cute. Anyway, Michael says, Egberto, thanks for putting on the screen. On the rare times the conservatives pull an article from a high factual source, gotta check them out. Absolutely, absolutely. MD Matsi Rosman says, thanks a lot. After a long time, of course, you are well. Thank you, my brother. Lee Grant says, Musk endorsed Trump. That is a perfect reason not to vote for Trump. That endorsement should disqualify anyone who wants to vote for Trump. But anyhow, look, JD Vance is the new vice president, the pick for vice president with Donald Trump. Of course, the reason why we need JD Vance is that Mr. Mike Pence said, I cannot support Donald Trump. The man tried to kill me. The guy's crazy. I will not support Donald Trump for president. That's what his former vice president says. But you know, his former vice president has never, either before the presidency, during the presidency of Donald Trump, or look, or after the presidency of Donald Trump, that vice president never said the thing the vice president to be for Donald Trump has said about him. I am surprised that Donald Trump decided to pick JD because he probably never saw or heard all what JD said. They probably did some numbers and said JD would work out fine. Hey, Trump, close your ears. Don't listen to what JD said about you before. Because I want you guys to listen to this. JD Vance really, really hated Donald Trump.
Vance is less than 2 years into his first term in the Senate. He worked in venture capital before entering politics. He's also the author of the best-selling memoir, Hillbilly Elegy. The book details his mother's battle with drug addiction, a rotating cast of father figures, and other socioeconomic challenges his family faced after they moved from eastern Kentucky to southwestern Ohio. Senator Vance was originally a vocal critic of former President Trump before being elected to office. In messages to a friend in 2016, Vance said he goes, quote, back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical a-hole like Nixon who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler. In a piece for The Atlantic that same year, Vance wrote, Trump's promises are the needle in America's collective vein. Trump is cultural heroin. He makes some feel better for a bit, but he cannot fix what ails them. In an op-ed for the New York Times in 2016, the Hillbilly Elegy author called Trump unfit for office. Here's more of what he had to say back then.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
It makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
Like you said, I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person. I don't think he actually cares about folks.
Definitely, there is definitely an element of Donald Trump support that has its basis in racism or xenophobia.
I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. I think that I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Last night, Vance addressed those past criticism and explained explained why his views have changed.
I don't hide from that. I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans because, again, he delivered that peace and prosperity. If you go back to what I thought in 2016, another thing that was going on, Sean, is I bought into the media's lies and distortions. I bought into this idea that somehow he was going to be so different, a terrible threat to democracy. It was a joke.
I don't think it was a joke.
I don't know what to
I don't even know what to say.
I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
Like you said, I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person. I don't think he actually cares about folks.
So as a conservative who thinks that Trump does not have the answers and isn't qualified to be president, what are you going to do this election, if you don't mind saying?
My current plan is to vote either third party, or as I joke to my wife, I might write in my dog, because that's about as good as it seems. But, you know, I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. Ultimately, I think I'll probably vote third party. I might vote for this new guy who I really like, Evan McMullen, who I actually met the other day. But I think that I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Donald Trump's new running mate. I will vote for my dog over him. I will vote for a guy I just met, Evan McMullen, or Hillary Clinton, or some other third-party entity I can't even name. I will not vote for him because he is noxious and he is leading us in this country to a very dark place. He calls him a total fraud. In addition to that clip you saw there of him on MSNBC on Hardball with Chris Matthews saying that he believed a woman when she testified in the E. Jean Carroll case that she was sexually assaulted by Trump. He believed her, not Trump. He also liked a tweet around the same time saying that Trump had committed serial sexual assault. Another one just calling Trump a monster. He has called Trump a moral disaster. He's called him cultural heroin. He has called him reprehensible. He has also called him, quote, an idiot. J.D. Vance is a very good writer. He wrote in a very good New York Times op-ed that, quote, Trump is unfit for our nation's highest office. He wrote to one former roommate about Trump, quote, I go back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical a-hole like Nixon or that he's America's Hitler. How's that for discouraging? End quote.
Now, again, remember, Donald Trump was one of the instigators for the posse that attempted to kill Vice President Pence for not doing the unconstitutional thing. Think about this. And Pence never said anything this badly against Trump. Of course, J.D. Vance is a lot smarter than Pence is. And that is what he thought about Trump. But given that J.D. Vance want to move ahead in the Republican Party, and the Republican Party has been taken over by MAGA, he figured, I'll sell my soul. And by selling my soul, I can move ahead. And who knows, I may even become the president of the United States, because good old Donald Trump, he's 78. And just like Biden could croak in office, so could Donald Trump. The only difference is Donald Trump is obese. Donald Trump doesn't, so he could, who knows what happens to him, right? So I have never seen someone criticize their running mate this bad. Not even during the Reagan Bush used, you know what we thought was bad? When Bush used to say Reaganomics was voodoo economics, that's as bad as George Herbert Walker Bush got before Reagan went ahead and accepted him as his presidency for the vice presidents. But my God, J.D. Vance was relentless. And, while CSAC may say, don't you change your mind sometimes? Yeah, you change your minds on things that are not verifiable. You change your mind on things that isn't necessarily in that spot. But what JD Vance did was show exactly who Trump is. And for that, we are going to have a whole lot of ads. And the ads are not for the MAGA folks. You won't convince the MAGA anything. But the good thing is that there are people on the fence that are going to say, my God, if his vice president thought this about him and now he's on the bandwagon, both of them are no good. Both Vance is morally corrupt and Donald Trump is morally corrupt. Anyway, Bridge MCP has a word for us. And Bridge, my dear beautiful Bridge, I didn't see it. If I had seen it, I would have put it up earlier. It says, avoid those who play the victim role for issues they themselves have caused. Enough said. That's all I got to say. Enough said. All right, let's see what else we got here. Uh, Lee Grant says Vance has evolved. Politics made strange bedfellows. That's very true, brother Grant. Let's see. Eric says, don't you think it is smart bringing the Never Orange Men crowd around Vance and Haley and DeSantis? I think maybe progressives are scared that one side is now unified. No, I would like them to be all unified. When they're unified, it's easy to beat them all with one stone, right? Let's see. What else we've got here before I get to the other video? Paul Fleming says a lawsuit has been filed against Arkansas Secretary of State John Thurston on behalf of an activist group working on the place of constitutional amendment on the November ballot that would expand abortion access in the state. What did they stop? Did they prevent that ballot from being going on to the thing? I thought that was already. Anyway, I'll wait for that. Michael Radden says Lee JD Vance is just a two-faced carpetbagger with negative charisma. He's a loser for the ticket. I think combined they're worse than separate, and I think that's a good thing for whoever is going to be leading our ticket. All right, let's see. Check out Lee Vance's speech tonight. Actually, JD Vance is actually a very good speaker. His words are going to be impeccable. But after he gives those impeccable words, the best part about it is how we're going to dissect it. Because while he may try to put lipstick on a pig, we're going to take care of the rest. All right, let's see. Paul Fleming says, threats hurled at workers trying to restore power after Hurricane Beryl. Texas cops say, Texas, you voted for the issues you experienced. So look in the mirror and yell at our own. Paul Fleming, you know what? You could be a Texan. We continue to elect these people that screw us, and then their behavior is exactly what you expect. The ones who are, well, I won't go there. All right, let's see what else we got here. We have, let's see. Steigen Bergen King says, I was talking about this election with some friends, and we all agreed that if Trump wins, Oregon should secede from the union. Do you think California would join us? No, nobody can secede. Trump's not going to win, okay? You know what? I think now is it's time for me to play what I said last night because I was on TikTok and I wanted to kind of give people an uplifting message on TikTok. So let me see if I can find that TikTok that I did last night, meaning if I can find a link to it. I think I can find a link. How do I get a link to that? I think I can get a link and I'm looking for the link, copy link. All right, let's see if this will play. I'll try it. If it doesn't play, shame on me. But let's go ahead and play that. All right, here we go. I think I may have to do a little something else to get it to play. Maybe I'll do that. Let's see if that works.
You know, as I'm watching TikTok and Instagram and shorts on YouTube and videos and blogs, people are really worried about this election 2024. And I'm going to tell you something. I had not been worried all along, even after the debate that Biden screwed up, even as I spoke about, yeah, maybe we should have a change of the tickets or maybe not. I don't know. But the thing about what we have to realize are two things. Republicans have not won an election in several cycles. In fact, if I recall the last 8 elections, Republicans only won the majority of the population once. Because we are not really a democracy, to win, for progressives to win, for liberals to win, for Democrats to win, you have to win by so much more than Republicans. But you know what Republicans did? They pretty much laid a pathway for us to win and win big. So while we are here concerned and worried about whether Biden is going to win or whether Democrats are going to win or whether we're going to keep the Senate and the Congress, which we must keep the Senate. We must win over the Congress and we must hold the presidency. It shouldn't be difficult. It should not be difficult at all. The Republicans, with their arcane policies, with what the Supreme Court has done to women, with what the Supreme Court has done to workers, with what the Supreme Court has done to all of us by the Chevron bill, where it means the corporations get to forget about regulations and for all practical purpose infect us all. It's not going to be a difficult election. And it really should be a landslide. What we have to really do is talk to people. You know, I'm not about talking to MAGA. I talk to MAGA, right? But I'm not MAGA can't win or lose this election. Or rather, MAGA can't win this election. We can win or lose this election. We lose by not showing up. We win by showing up. You know why? There's a lot more of us who realize that MAGA Republican policies present a clear and present danger. What's a clear and present danger? It's not good for us. So we need to get off the bandwagon of fear and worried about Biden and all of that and know one thing: no matter who's at the top of the tickets, no matter what happens, just get all the people you know to go vote. And if everybody votes, there's not a chance in hell we don't have a landslide election from top to bottom. You know why the Republicans and MAGA have this bravado about winning and they have it in the bag and all of that? It's the okie doke. It's about convincing you that don't even bother voting because we got this. That's the biggest poker face that they got. They depend on you believing that. You take a look at their convention. I have friends calling about the convention saying, oh, we've lost it. We've lost it. Have you heard them? The funny thing about it is the convention is a plethora of lie over lie over lie. That's easy to dispute. That is easy to correct. So spend a little time having some coffee with your friends and just tell them, go out there and vote. Call them up as we early vote. Call them up as it's time to go to vote. Take them for a vote. Whatever state you're in. It shouldn't be a close election. And what will stop us is fear. Fear of losing. You know, we haven't lost in a long time. Because we're not a democracy, We have lost the presidency and the House. But the only way for us to lose is when we don't vote. Get out the reason. Even in Kansas and all these red states, when it came to the abortion bills, the polls said one thing, and we won it all by a landslide. In 2020, in 2021, in 2022, we've been winning. And you know why we've been winning? Because we've been going out to vote. So don't fear. This stuff about the economy doing bad, let's look at the real numbers. Look at how things really are. Inflation, we know who really caused it. The failure of Trump to control the pandemic in the beginning, but that's all academic. We all know what we need to do. If we vote, we win. There's no fear. For all those people that are agnostic about voting, for all those people that are fearful about, I don't want to vote, it doesn't make any difference, let them realize that they're allowing their minds to be enslaved by the okie doke that the Republicans are playing on them, that MAGA is playing on them by letting them believe there's no point, we've got this. They don't, and they know it. They know it. But they also have a good poker face. So stop worrying. Just go out there and vote. Stop worrying, really. I have a lot of faith in all of you. Really, stop worrying. Don't worry about Biden. Don't worry about any of that. Whether Biden is there or not, immaterial. Just go vote. You vote, we win. Again, you vote, we win. There's a hell of a lot more than us. There's a hell of a lot more of us than them. Remember that. And this is not wishful thinking. This is a statement of fact. Positive affirmations.
I did that probably one or so this morning. Here is the link. I think that's the link. That is the link right there. I'm going to turn it into a YouTube later on today because I got a lot of kudos from a lot of people told me that it positivized their life after that. After listening to that, I got a lot of direct messages there on TikTok on that one. But and you have to, and the other thing that we have to remind folks is we have to remind folks that are considering voting for Donald Trump that many always like to talk morality and leading by example and who to support, etc. Remember what these people who vote for Donald Trump are telling their kids. They're telling their kids that it's okay to support and vote and have this country led by a rapist. They're saying it is okay to have this country in the hands of a thief. They're saying that it's okay to have this country in the hands of somebody who cares little about women. It is okay to have a person in the presidency who just simply knows how to lie. Remember that. Remember that. All those things, once you drag that thing down for Donald Trump, how do you look your child in the eye when that child lies to you? When that child commits some sort of a crime? When that child turns back and look at you and say, but ma or dad, you voted and you supported and you paid into the MAGA fund. You supported this guy with the red hats and all these things. You supported a guy who pulled on women's crutches. You supported a guy who stiffed his employees. You supported a guy who lied and lied and lied. So why can't I do that, Mom? Dad? I mean, if you support him, aren't those behaviors okay, Mom? After all, yes, he harmed a lot of people, Ma. So remember that. All these evangelicals, I mean, that's why the evangelical churches except for the cultists, is going to hell, right? Because the consistency isn't there. We want to live a moral life. We want you to we want you to honor your wife. But Trump was with a prostitute while she was pregnant. So remember what you're voting for. You have lost all. Anyone voting for this guy has lost completely the ability to look into their kids' eyes and say, do what's right. Because you have taught them to do what's wrong. You have taught them that it is okay to elevate a criminal to the highest office of this land. That's what you have said. So if the president can be such a criminal and be held in favor to run the richest country, the most powerful country in the world, what is your kid doing a little something silly? What is your kid ripping off a few things here and there? Remember, folks, what your vote means. Remember, if Obama had 3 baby mamas, if Obama said the things that he said about women, if Obama stiffed his employees, if Obama stole from a charity, if Obama created a fraudulent university, I wonder what right-wingers would be saying. He would have permanently excommunicated himself from the ability to ever become president of this country and for any political office for that matter. So folks, remember that. All of you out there. And by the way, Eric, stop talking about freebies. The biggest recipients of freebies in this country are the billionaires you support. From Musk, whose company wasn't didn't come from his innovation, but from because he was sucking on the government's tits. That's how Elon Musk made that car. And now that he's trying to make it into a viable business, he has failed with an inventory that can be seen from space. He ain't all that smart. He ain't all that smart. But you know who's making very good electric cars? The Chinese. They've invested in it, and they're all over the world. We can't quite get them here often, but they're all over the world. You see, but Americans don't know that. Their technology surpasses what Elon Musk has done. And you know what they've done? They've mass produced it, and it's all over the world. Their shows, their car shows showing their electric vehicles are big successes. But we don't see that on the news here. You know why we don't see it? Guess why we don't see those things on the news here? It doesn't compute. In Jamaica, you can get a whole lot of those little cars, small cars like small sedans, Chinese electric cars, and you see people buying them for $16,000, $17,000, $18,000. But we are glory, glory, hallelujah as we fail, right? So let's be clear here, buddy. Let's be clear. All right, I got another video to show you. This one here is about Trump's economy. For those of you who are waiting for Trump's economy to be a success, Trump's economy will be a failure because the internals of what he wants to do makes it clear it would be a failure. Not so says Egberto, but so says 16 Nobel laureate. Here we go.
Truth time. Turn up the volume for this. Tonight, a new warning about the stakes this November. 16 Nobel Prize winning economists say that if former President Donald J. Trump wins, quote, his plans will reignite inflation and cause lasting harms to the global economy. And Jeffrey Sonnenfeld of Yale, who works with thousands of business leaders every year, he pointed out that the business community has not embraced the former Trump in no way, shape, or form. In fact, no one Fortune 100 CEO has donated to Trump this year. Joining me now to discuss two of my faves, Wall Street financier Steve Ratner. He's an op-ed contributing writer to the New York Times, but you know him as the Morning Joe economic analyst. And Andrew Ross Sorkin is working an extra long day co-anchor of CNBC Squawk Box and founder of the New York Times Deal Book. Let's start with these economists. They say that Trump's policies could cause an inflation bomb. What do you think about that, Steve?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of risks here. Trump is talking about extending his tax cuts, which means massive deficits. He's talking about tariffs, which add enormously to inflation. Tariffs are paid for by consumers, not by China, not by companies, as Trump would like people to think. And it's all in all, it's a completely irresponsible economic policy that people have not yet completely focused on. Hopefully, this is the beginning of people starting to pay attention.
Andrew, you interview business leaders every day who like to understandably complain about inflation. Yep. They're not crazy about Lena Khan. They don't necessarily say that President Biden is business friendly. But when you've got 16 Nobel Prize winners saying Trump's policies will be a disaster, how are the business Trump enthusiasts going to respond to this?
Well, the Trump enthusiasts, I think, actually just look away is what the Trump enthusiasts do. I think that those who are a little bit more with the program look at this and say, this is not a good thing. I think the hardest part about this is that to the extent that CEOs are trying to figure out what's happening here, they can look at these numbers and say the inflation piece just on its face would be terrible.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find. So yes, folks, his economic plan will do exactly what he did the first time, and that is destroy the economy. The thing about it is, it takes years for some of these things to take effect, right? And it takes years to clean up the mess. It always seems like we always have to bring in a Democrat after a Republican fiasco to clean stuff up. Obama had to clean Bush's mess up. Clinton had to clean Bush daddy messes up. And Biden had to clean Trump's mess up. It is just a constancy of mismanagement. Anyhow, I want to end with this. Young people, boomers and others have wronged young people. And this book says it all. I want you to check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
The system is rigged. So if you got $1 million, great. If you got 5 million, 10 million, even better. Life gets easier because the way our tax system's set up.
Yeah, we have a very progressive tax system until you get to about the 99th percent. And essentially the people who get most damaged by our current tax code, it's lower and middle income households, their taxes have gone up slightly because of consumption, but not because of federal. The people that really get hurt are what I call the workhorses. And that are people who make an exceptionally good living, but it's all current income. And they live in a blue state. They might be paying 50 to 54% tax rate. I bet some of those people are on around this table right now. But if you can make the jump to light speed and invest in assets, stocks, housing, then your tax rate plummets. So in America, we've decided to try and create a super class of billionaires. And then if they win the gold medal, we're going to give them the silver and the bronze. Two biggest tax deductions, capital gains and mortgage interest. Who owns homes and stocks? People my age. Who doesn't know? Who rents and makes their money from current income? Young people. So we've decided that the wealthiest people in the world should get exceptionally more wealthy. Minimum wage stuck at $9.25. Stock market is screamed up. The average 70-year-old is 72% wealthier than they were 40 years ago. The average person under the age of 40 is 24% less wealthy. We are purposely transferring more wealth from the poor and middle class to the upper class to the super rich, and from young to old.
And you say in the book, which is true and alarming, but let's say a 30-year-old American in America right now is doing no better than his or her parents. Then that's a new thing in American history that you would think over time, we want to do better than the next generation, than the last generation. It's not happening anymore.
I think it all ties into what we're talking about on campuses. For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people aren't having sex. They're not meeting. They're not mating. The pool of emotionally and economically viable men shrinks every day, which lessens household formation. So we have a real issue. Young people are enraged. So it turns every cut, every movement into an opportunistic infection because, quite frankly, they are just pissed off. They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree see their degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic once we own the housing. Housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. So a young person, a house, stocks that I don't own skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, it would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. Young people have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are not doing as well as everyone around them. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious, and more depressed, and more obese, and more addicted. And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring the people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
That nails it. And that is what we have to fix. That is what progressives are working on. And we've done a good start with the Biden administration. It is something we've got to continue. If Donald Trump comes into power, that will pretty much stop it all. It will go right back to the oligarchy taken in. So anyhow, folks, we are coming close to the end of the program, and I'm just going to ask for two things here. One, please consider going to the page politicsdoneright.com/support and find whatever way you can to support this program. Please allow us to continue doing this. It's so important, especially when you listen to see how ill-informed so many of us are. What we try to do is present truthful information, making sure that people are, in fact, educated. I'd like for as many as you can to subscribe to the newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Please become a paid subscriber. That is how we can continue doing what we do, by supporting us in whatever form you can. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.